Federica Scouten with CNN. How are you?
Good.
You mentioned Wisconsin. I mean, obviously, Wisconsin and North Carolina are potential battleground states in this election. And a number of folks have spoken about how popular this is. Can we talk a little bit about what this might mean in terms of driving Republican turnout, and whether that might have an impact on the results this fall? The part one, and then part two, I'm curious about what sort of budget and effort you're putting into this in these 8 states this year.
Go ahead.
So from the North Carolina perspective, it is overwhelmingly popular in the state. So it crosses both lines. I mean, we have seen polling well into the 80s, close to 90% across our state. And in a state like mine, that encompasses unaffiliated voters, Republicans, and Democrats. So I think it's going to be an overwhelmingly popular choice amongst folks that are maybe voting in different ways on the overall ballot.
In terms of turnout for Republicans, I think a lot of people have tried to make it about that, saying we're doing this for Republican turnout. I will tell you, when I sponsored the referendum in South Carolina, one of the original co-sponsors after I introduced it was the Senate Minority Leader, who's a Democrat, because they recognize they can read the polls too. This is not a turnout issue just for Republicans. I think this is going to drive turnout, but frankly, just voters in general who are concerned about the issue. We're working pretty hard in South Carolina. I know the other senators are in their states to make sure everybody knows it's on the ballot and what it means. We feel it's going to drive up overall voter participation, not necessarily by party. The few folks that we had 3 Democrats in the Senate that voted against it, every one of them took a lot of heat for doing that, and their own party came out and endorsed the position. So I think it's going to drive turnout, but I don't think it's necessarily partisan. I think it's going to, a lot of people are going to want to vote and weigh in. We've seen the same numbers, 80% plus, depending, and that's across every demographic. Male, female, every racial demographic, Republican and Democrat. It's almost maybe a point or two difference between the parties in terms of registration. But we think it's a turnout tool for everybody. It's going to get people to show up to the polls, and they're concerned about election integrity. Both sides are. I mean, frankly, in the post-COVID world, a lot of things have changed. A lot of people are confused about changes in every state. This affirms that commitment by every state represented here to defend the integrity of the ballot box, and I think that's a bipartisan issue.
I just wanted to mention, so often I read articles and I see people talk about this as a turnout issue. And there's a negative connotation to that. And it strikes me that we want people to come out and vote. And the best way to get people to come out and vote is to give them something they really want to vote for. And so that part of this as a turnout issue, I want to just embrace, because this is something voters care about. And I think we ought to have more turnout issues and spike that turnout.
But as a follow-up, the budget for this?
We will spend in each of these states. I don't know exactly what that spending will be, but it will be over 7 figures, not in each state, but overall. This has been a very grassroots campaign. We haven't had the millions that some folks do, but we will make certain that people hear about this and know that it's on the ballot, because I think they're going to be excited to know it.